your bets, it's time to win. Tickets in hand, ready to cash. Feeling the rush as the seconds dash. Hit the like and subscribe, alright. Get along into the bright light. Unload the clip, don't be shy. Bangers hitting as the cash piles high. Whispers of victory in the air. Every punt, every pass we care. Saturday mornings can't compare to the thrill and the wins we share. Grin on my face, coffee cup.
Oh, what's going on, baby? We got to let that song play a little bit more, man. Get the vibes up here this morning. I just watched a doc on Yacht Rock last night. I'm pumped. Get the soft rock going, get the vibes going. This is what we want to do here on Saturday mornings with GunzPicks, shall we? Let's go.
College games on the screen all night long.
All night long. Let's go.
2-unit bangers feeling so strong.
Chat's going. Sox Nation coming in. Let's go Irish. 34-17. Win it, book it. Well, I'm scared. I'm scared to death. Of course, Adam's sweating out that BG bet like me last night. Thankfully, we got the right side of the line on the under because that game ended. If you got the closing line, didn't hit. Woo, let's go. We got our guest waiting in the queue. I want to make sure I introduce him properly, but I want to get the vibes going first. Let's go. Come on. There we go. Let the cash pile high. That's what we're going to be doing today. What's going on, everybody? It is GunzPicks. This is Saturday Mornings with GunzPicks. I'm the host of the most, the point guard of podcast, and the self-proclaimed CFB GO himself. And man, do we have ourselves a beautiful, and I mean beautiful, college football slate. The last one of the regular season before we get into bowl season. So a little bittersweet, but man, we had a great year. I'm over 40 units in college football, and I'm on the absolute run of all runs in the month of November. I've just absolutely crushed it. And this is the last day of it. So let's dominate the board. But before we get into my guests and we start talking about the top 25, I got to give a little bit of the, every morning I wake up, I rub the crusties out of my eyes. I go to my coffee maker, put in the coffee grounds, put it into the machine. I put the water in the back of the machine, drip, drip, drip. I got myself coffee parlay. Let's go. Whoa, didn't hit the brand. Let's do that one more time. Take two. Let's go. Cup of coffee parlay up on deck. Here we go. We got Ohio State today in a revenge versus Michigan. Give me that one on the money line. Give me North Texas on the money line, Illinois on the money line, Arizona State on the money line. I think they're going to thump Arizona today in a revenge angle. Georgia Southern money line, Indiana money line off the bounce back loss to Ohio State. They should thump Purdue. We got Kansas State money line versus Baylor, Virginia Tech money line, and then New Mexico money line with late night degenerate special at 11 p.m. tonight at a plus 1839 parlay. And I don't give you just one, I give you two here to close out the season. Give me West Virginia money line, South Carolina money line, and Arkansas money line. All doggies plus 889 on that parlay. Man, we got ourselves a board. Let's get my guest in here. You've seen him on the Sports Money channel. You've seen him. I think he never stops streaming. I think he never stops doing shows. He is the hardest worker in the streaming business. It is my man, and he's back on the show to close out the regular season. Mikey, what's going on, buddy? How you been?
What up, man? I love the slow jam this morning here, man. That kind of got me going. I got a vibe going here. I got a vibe.
Got inspired. The show is the vibe, chill, the yacht rock era. And I said there's a good documentary on HBO. I watched it last night. It was I guess most of it was okay, but some of it was kind of a little bit politically biased. I digress. But I think we it was a great documentary and great vibes, and it got me inspired to just listen to yacht rock all day and get ready for this show. And of course, we got the chat going here. Joel, morning, Guns. How you doing, buddy? Hey, I pulled up the parlays. I know you said you were going to whip yourself up a parlay today. Did you accomplish that?
I will accomplish that right now, as a matter of fact, as we talk about this here. We will do it live here together. And I'll tell you what, I had a nice parlay day yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I had a 5-legger in hockey. I whacked out a couple of, I had a basketball parlay in there as well. So time is now to do this thing here. And I think there's a couple spots. I had to take one out though, because I don't want to contradict the self-proclaimed expert of college football. I don't want to be on the opposite side here when it comes to my parlay. So let me work this up here as we go through the show, and I'll share it with you guys at the end.
All right, so let's go and break down the top 25 board here today. And like we do on this show, I talk about every single top 25 with my guests. We talk about if we have any plays on the game, or we just say we got nothing on this one, and here's the reason why. But we'll break down the top 25 nonetheless, up and down the board till we get to kick off here at noontime. Please like and subscribe to the GunzPicks channel and hit the thumbs up and get to the comment section as well. Get us in the algorithms, baby. That's how you make this show and this channel grow. And let's talk about the first game that is on the board here with Michigan versus Ohio State. The rivalry of all rivalries here at noontime at the shoe. I mean, Ohio State, you could say they're unmotivated knowing they're going to get into the Big 12, the Big 10 championship, blah, blah, blah. No. This is Michigan. This is Ohio State. This is the game that you have to win as a coach or you get fired. I have some thoughts on the total, but I don't have anything on the side. What are your thoughts on this one, Mike?
Yeah, you're right. Not only, I'll tell you what, if you lose this game, you probably get fired. If Ryan Day loses this game, he's definitely getting fired.
100%.
They can't. There was some seeds of discontent early in the season. He's on a way to do some righting of the ship, if you will. But everyone knows it's Ohio State. Penn State's going to be the blowout here. But -10 moved to 19.5. The cowardice that is Harbaugh, leaving like a Chip Kelly in the middle of the night, avoiding college football suspension and fines and tarnishing his legacy, moves himself over to the Chargers, and he got what he got against his brother in that Ravens team the other day. But now Michigan's left holding the bag, and now -10 has moved to 19.5. You have 46% of the bets and 56% of the cash pouring in on Ohio State. It's really not pouring in, right? I mean, it's. I think there's a decided conglomerate now that feels this is going to be too many points, and I think early on it is. You look at the total, though. 45s moved down to 42.5. Even 41s. You have 65% of the bets and 51% of the cash on the over. And yet it's dropping like a rock. And I think the dropping like a rock is primarily due to weather. I talked a little bit about and hopefully we'll get to talk about this in some MAC games here. But gusty winds today, 25, 30 miles an hour across that Ohio Valley. And that's going to be problematic for this Michigan program. And I think Ohio State certainly will fill out their challenges here too. But the thing I looked at, and I can't remember where I heard it earlier this week, though, was just the notorious slow start for these programs. And yeah, you talk about the total. I think you talked about this over across the street there earlier this morning. Lowest number between these two teams in how long? I mean, it's been fucking 10 years at least, I think. And
it's even worse. And I actually had to go back and look and double check. The lowest it's ever been, and that's going back to 2004, was 44. And it's 42.5.
Absolutely lunacy. But it's low for a reason, And I looked at that game, which one was it yesterday? I know it's the NFL, but super low number in a Kansas City game, and it's low for a reason. The low games go low, and I think that's very much the situation here. The play that I have for this one is the first quarter under 9.5. These teams collectively, what did I write down here? Collectively, we'll look at Ohio State scoring 4.8 points per game in the first quarter. They're allowing 2.9. Then you look on the other side of things, and Michigan's not doing much better. Give me the first quarter under 9.5. Probably going to be a little tense, a little tension, some wind, trying to feel each other out and play a little chess early on. So low, slow start. And I do think that at the end of the day, Ohio State wins the game.
Yeah, I think Ohio State
covers, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is, if anything, it's going to be one-sided on this one. I don't see Michigan putting up the points. I haven't put points up all year. You look at their offensive scoring. I think they're ranked 90th in the country in offensive scoring. But when you used to see these teams, both teams offensively were high-end, high-octane scoring offenses. It's a little bit different this year. Granted, Ohio State does put up the points, but both defenses are really good, especially even on the Michigan side. They're ranked in the top 25 in most key statistical categories, including opponent scoring. And then with Ohio State, I said it last week when I took them against Indiana. I said that they're top 5 in virtually every statistical category there is on the defensive side of the ball, and even opponent scoring. So you're looking at two good defenses here, and then you have a run-oriented team with Michigan and a team that I would say leans towards the run game on Ohio State. So that's clock killing time, and seeing this total being as low as it has since 2004. I don't think they started tracking. I think that's the first time they may have started tracking totals. I could have that wrong. In college football, totals weren't around for a very long time, and now you're seeing it here. Lowest it's ever been recorded from my notes, and I think we're looking at an under. It's going to be a boring game there at the shoe, and I know that they've I think 11-1 to the over in this matchup in the last 12, and you have it, and you have the books just baiting people to take the over at 42.5. Yeah, this is something that I'm just going to be the contrarian here. Take the under in Michigan, Ohio State. Next game on the board. I have some good notes on this one, and I talked about it on Dabby's show just a minute ago, but I'll talk about it again. Tennessee versus Vanderbilt here. Big game in Nashville, First Bank Stadium. Vandy's going to be pumped up for this one. In Tennessee, with Josh Heupel, all the pressure on the world is them. Playoff implications on the line. I think an SEC championship spot on the line, that type of deal. I maybe not, because I think it's going to be Georgia and Texas or Texas A&M. Maybe not on the SEC championship side, but still, win this game, you're sitting in a pretty position on the college football playoff board. I'll pass it to you, Mike. Any thoughts on Tennessee versus Vandy?
I don't know what happened to Tennessee. I had high expectations to start the year, and I feel like maybe it's just mediocre playing that, that Georgia loss kind of, in my estimation, it took them out of everything. 31-17. You got beat up. You were 8.5 pointers. So you're expected to lose, but in the fashion they did, then they come back home and they crush a UTEP team. We know the SECs play cupcakes when it comes to that last kind of prepping for the final end of the thing, getting ready for the SEC championship. And they beat them up 56-0. I think they come in fat and happy. I love the Vanderbilt spot in this game here. It's the Super Bowl opportunity. They're 1-3 in their last 4, but look, they lose to, Brian Kelly and the LSU squad 24-17. They cover that spread, so they put up an admirable effort. They lose to South Carolina. I know that's a team that you're high on out there, 28-7. And then, they lose to Texas 27-24. They battle. They end up beating Auburn in Auburn. And there's a lot of motivation, I think, for one team to go out there and be triumphant. I'm trying to pull up the number I had. There's a big trend I had in that direction as well. But I love Vanderbilt in this thing here. Give me the points. I don't know if they're a live dog again, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a little sleepy spot here from Tennessee, especially after going out there and, again, being fat and happy. SEC underdogs, 43-16. Big opportunity there. The Dogs have found a way to cover, and I think this is a great spot. Senior night, Vanderbilt, big opportunity. Upset special.
Yeah, I mean, we could be seeing the taking down another set of goalposts here today at Vanderbilt. But I agree with you on this one. Tennessee's only had 3 true road games this season. 1 and 2 straight up in those spots. They've underperformed on the road, and they're going against a Vandy team, like you said. They're coming off some losses, but at home, 4 and 2 straight up in ATS. But that was against Bama, Texas, Ball State, South Carolina, and Virginia Tech. So they've had some pretty good teams playing them in their own stadium. And they're 6-1 ATS with 3 outright wins in the dog roll versus conference opponents this year. And they're 5-0 ATS. It's a double-digit dog already. So, yeah, this is everything you want in a Vandy play. And when you get them as a double-digit dog, especially at home, when they were a 27-point dog last year to Tennessee, pressure's on Tennessee. But Vandy, there's no pressure. Diego Pavea just has ice in his veins, and he just absolutely just rips that ball down the field. Eli Drankowitz, He takes no chances. He doesn't play conservative. He goes right for the jugular like he did against Bama. And you're probably going to see something similar here with Tennessee. Yeah, Vandy's the only spot on this one. I got plus 11 and it's dropped to 10. Get it right at the 10 right now and just take the plus points and maybe a little sprinkle on the money line because you typically, I would say, 50% of the time, Vandy wins these games outright. So I would take that as well. As everybody's getting going. Joel's like, man, all I'm hearing is Vandy. I'm getting more worried by the minute. And yes, I'm on Vandy. Well, there you go. Don't be worried about this one. Don't be worried about this one.
Be confident. Be comfortable. You're getting validation from the self-proclaimed king of college football.
Well, everything is like sometimes you're way too hot in college football that you're waiting for the ball to drop.
Oh, I know.
I'm so worried about it today because I have the clip unloaded on a ton of games today. Next game on the board, though, let's go to another game that I have opinions on, and that is South Carolina versus Clemson at 12 p.m. In-state battle, Memorial Stadium, 12 p.m. South Carolina having a tremendous year with the tough schedule. Clemson kind of, sleepwalking, going through lackluster opponents. And when they have a step up in class, they've shown they've folded like a cheap suit. Mike, any thoughts on this game, South Carolina versus Clemson?
I like Clemson. I'm a Clemson guy. And, it's a big number movement. I'm confused. Everybody is on the South Carolina side of things here. And I get it. I mean, if you look at what they're playing for spot, Clemson really doesn't have much to prove out there. They're going to probably be playing in the ACC championship game regardless. And then the question is going to be Miami and what happens with, this Miami-Syracuse spot today. Is Syracuse any shot that they can go out there and beat this Miami team? And if so, there could be some movement. But look, rivalry spot, Clemson's fucking hammered on these boys. But South Carolina did win that last game in Clemson. So I could see it, and I see the numbers drop 5 full points in this thing here, but the 48.5 moved to 49.5, suggesting some scoring. And Clemson kind of stumbled out the gate, but they were able to kind of figure it out. They were able to right the ship, get this thing moving. It's a big home game for them. I don't think they're going to get caught lightly. I don't think they're going to sleepwalk through this game as much as kind of what I'm hearing out there. But yeah, South Carolina's formidable, man. They're going out there. They busted up Vanderbilt 28-7. They take down Mizzou 34-30, but they were big favorites in that game, so they definitely didn't meet expectation. And then they hammered down on a Wolford team, but they didn't cover the spread in that one either. And, Clemson's got some notable wins on their belt after that struggle off the gate there. That Louisville loss, though, cost me in the pocketbook, cost me across the board, but I think they found a way. Virginia Tech on the road, Pittsburgh on the road are two hostile environments. Blacksburg, fucking Virginia Tech enters Sandman. They go up to Pitt. They handle Pitt. They come back. They straighten things out with Citadel. I'd be careful in this game, but I like some Clemson. I'm going to take the 2.5 points. Or I'm going to lay the 2.5 points, rather. I'm going to take some Clemson.
Yeah. Clemson has actually won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of the last 9, including last year. They won 16-7. But they didn't cover. They ended up covering the spread in that one at 7.5. But I think it's interesting.
South Carolina, though, right? In South Carolina.
It was in South Carolina. They won that game on the road. So yes, they were 7.5 point favorites. They won that on the road. Now they're a short dog at home, which is kind of alarming in this one. Very reverse angled on the revenge, and I think it has to do with South Carolina is a battle tested team. The 3-1 straight up, 4-0 ATS on the road, plus 18-point differential, and they've had the 8th toughest schedule in the country. This team has 3 losses, and you could argue that they were in position at least 2 of them. They could have beat Alabama, and they should have beat LSU, and they let them off the hook in the 4th quarter. I like the revenge angle with South Carolina. Like I said, they were 7.5 point home dogs last year. Now they're a short road dog on the road. That tells me everything I need to know here. And also, you look at the matchup, the home. You just fade the home team every time these two teams meet. 0-6 ATS and straight up. The home team is when these two teams meet. I like South Carolina. I've just been tailing them all season long, periodically from spot to spot. It seems like another comfortable spot. Seeing them as a road dog, short here. with revenge. Give it to me on the money line and give me at +2.5, +3, whatever in the line you can get.
I'll tell you what, Guns, I wouldn't, if it's a trap, it's a trap, and I fell in it. And then I'll look back at it and I'll be like, how stupid I was because it's so obvious. But
I haven't seen Clemson every time they have a step up in class, and that was Louisville's kind of a step up in class. I mean, it's a small step, but them and Georgia, they just didn't play well in both of those games, and they're going against a South Carolina pass rush that is ranked 3rd in the country. So, Cade Klubnik isn't a mobile quarterback by any means. So I think if you put pressure on him, he tends to fold. So we'll see.
31-30 2 years ago, though, does South Carolina. Less weapons, more results in that game out there. Did take down Clemson on their field. So revenge, yeah. But I don't think Dabo's going to let these boys sleepwalk through this game here. We'll see.
We'll see. It could go either way. And I'll root for your bet. You can root for mine, or you can root for your bet and tell me to go fuck myself. I don't care.
You know what? We'll have enough action. I know I'm like you today. I loaded.
I got so much. Like, this is just one of.
Yeah. And you know what? There shouldn't be any one. Speaking of gambling and advice at this point of the season from anybody, there shouldn't be any one game that makes or breaks the entire day. Now, granted, if you're 5-5 and it's your 11th game, well, then that's going to make or break your day. But there shouldn't be one single outcome that you're so heavily invested in that it impacts the rest of your card. So
I've had such a good year. I'm just playing. I'm playing with house money right now. So it's like just a little bit here. I got like 3 or 4 games that are weighted, and then everything else is pretty much down the medium range, including this one. So I just think this is if I lose this one, I'm like, no big deal. As long as I hit this one, I'm right as rain. But I wanted to have a little bit of an announcement here. We have another cup of coffee parlay to give to the people from Mikey M himself. Pimp Slap. Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go. How about this thing? I got a little boost on it from DraftKings to get it to a 24.5 or almost 20. I'm optimistic here. We'll call it almost 25 to 1. If you're pessimistic, maybe you'll say it's 24 to 1, and that's fine too. But you guys know I'm a big trend better. I like to bet I like to see the correlation in the line movements as well. I'll just rip through this thing real fast here. This first one, though, is really just simply fading the public dog out there. Texas Tech has become that fade spot, laying the 3 points. I took them on the money line, though. West Virginia, all the years I watched college football, West Virginia is a tough place to play, right? You get into there, Morgantown, tough to travel to. They got a nice home edge, but they go on the road and they travel like shit. And right now you got a big public opportunity where they're hammering this West Virginia team, even though the numbers, this is like the trap spot because you see 61% of the bets and 80% of the cash on Texas Tech. The line has come down, but the public's bouncing in on this thing with that 38%. I'm taking Texas Tech and just simply fading the public. I went to the under in UAB. This is the second highest graded under I've got in the card today. And it just has now it's a UAB game. So sometimes we can see these things bust out and blow through the roof. Other times we can find them kind of being a little bit on the lower side of things here, but it's Charlotte. And I think UAB finds a way. Mid-season, faded teams that have been dominating the overs, just kind of going in the opposite direction, and it's led to a 63-26 result to the under. Teams that are on the over are regression candidates for the under. You're selling high is what you're talking about in that scenario. So love that under. Eastern Michigan, under 56. Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan, the battle for Michigan, outside of Michigan and Michigan State. It's the mid-tier battle for Michigan. But listen, we got 2 programs here that are just the run teams. They're not good at doing really anything. Western Michigan was supposed to be a team that was battling for potential MAC championship opportunity, and they have fallen off the wagon entirely their last couple of games. But it's senior night. Western Michigan laying a 6-pack probably gets the job done. Defensively, they should be able to use their D-line to control this Eastern Michigan team. And the big thing for me, this is a win game. You got gusts of 25 to 30 miles an hour, and you got a team in Western Michigan that likes to run the ball. You got a team in Eastern Michigan that can't really air the ball out. You're not going to air the ball out when you've got 25-mile-an-hour wind gust. You're going to keep it on the ground, which means tick, 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 tick. Run that clock out. We'll take that under. I jumped in on Coastal Carolina. Let me see if I can find this trend here real quick that I was jumping in off of with these boys. There we go. Away dogs. Under a +7.5. versus a team that rolls on the under. They can't score. That's why they're going under. And why not take the points is what that trend tells you. 218 to 168 in those spots. Big opportunity, enough sample size to say that, hey, it makes sense. You can't score. You can't outburst your opponents. And then last but not least, favorite spot on the card here is Iowa State. This is the one that's got the glory behind it here. The winner gets the opportunity to go battle for a championship and be in the playoffs. And that's exactly the opportunity is when you're looking at a team that is in a potential for playoffs. Week 14 specifically, teams fighting for playoff seeding are 43-8-1. They've won 10 straight games in that situation. That is Iowa State, money line minus 118. That's my best bet of the day. And I added that into that parlay as well, plus 24.50.
Yeah, listen, I've been high on Iowa State like all year. I took them on their win total over that hit. They played a little bit, regressed a little bit, probably around the Kansas game. Got me a little bit worried about that one, but they're playing at home last game and they have implications on the line. And plus you talked about the trend on that one when teams have something to play for. And by God, that team has something to play for today. The one thing that I'll disagree with you on though is the Texas Tech and West Virginia game. You said West Virginia is a better home team than they are a road team. Not this year. It's actually reversed. Not this year. They're plus 8 point differential, plus 44 net yard on the road this season. They're 3-1 straight up in ATS on the road, where Texas Tech is 2-4 ATS at home this season, failing to cover the last 3. UVA, I'm sorry, not UVA. West Virginia, I think is a prime spot here to take a dog. I took them on the money line. That's one spot that I like here. Small bet. But I think West Virginia gets it done at Jones A&T Stadium at 12 p.m. today. But everything else, can't disagree with you. Can't talk you off of that one. I know Coastal Carolina's in a revenge spot, so that's a good spot there for them. They haven't really played that well this season, but I think they're going to jump up it here and get it done. And like the under two on that. Taking unders in the MAC is excluding a few teams is pretty profitable.
Sure.
So,
yep.
We got an under yesterday with Bowling Green and Miami, Ohio. So that was a good one. And if you're on the right side of that line, you would have hit that. But let's go to the next game that are on the board here for the top 25. Trying to skip around some of these teams because I don't care. Illinois Northwestern, lackluster. Maryland versus Penn State. Okay, whatever.
Under Illinois Northwestern? Under, maybe?
Under, probably, yeah. It's at Northwestern. It's in Chicago. It is windy. Well, I haven't checked the weather on that one. Illinois does have a revenge angle there. I can give you that, but it's like above 7. I don't know about that game. And Illinois is kind of, well, at least the last 2 games they've won by margin, but I don't know about that one. Let's just get this one off. Yep. All right. I'm wearing the jersey. I'm not betting this game. I'm not touching this game. I'm watching this game. I have enough emotional investment in this game to make me excited for it. And the line just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping. It was at 7.5 yesterday. Now I'm seeing 6.5 hit the board, and I want to throw up. I just feel like I'm going to watch Notre Dame lose today to USC in the Coliseum, a place they cannot ever. I don't think they've won a game in the Coliseum since maybe Manti Te'o was the middle linebacker there. That's just from my recent memory. But we have a game here, a rivalry game at that. It is Irish. It is the Trojans. You got any thoughts on this game, Mike?
You know what my thought is every time I think of Notre Dame and you mentioned Manti Te'o, what the fuck was that dude doing with the fake girlfriend? It was such a weird thing, man. He's
an innocent boy. He is an innocent Mormon boy, is what he is, going to a Catholic school, and he was oblivious from the internet at that time. I don't think catfish was even a term when he got catfished. I think that was the most famous one was that one in 2012.
Remember what they were talking about it at the draft and everything else that went along with it? But
there were the memes where people were like just pretending to be with.
There were T-shirts going around. I'm Manti Te'o's girlfriend. It was crazy. It was crazy. But Notre Dame they've recovered since then and having a decent season. Yeah, you're right. The historical trend with these two teams and their lack of success when they're out there is. This is a lot of points for sure. That's my concern right now is that you can, depending on the market that you look at, there's 7s and there's 7.5s out there. I would certainly want the hook in my back pocket if I was looking to bet on this side. I teased this game together though. I took Notre Dame down to a -1, and I've got the over 46 in this game. And the thought process here is, look, we've got reverse line movement on the total. It went from 54.5s down to 53s and 52s. Yet we have 79% of the bets and 84% of the cash popping this over, and we see a downtick. So I think Notre Dame does find a way to kind of cure their demons here. Late season favorites of -7 or more versus teams that are over 500. So you're not playing a punching bag that's looking to go out there and win their Super Bowl like we talked about earlier. Those teams do have a decided advantage. It's 285 to 236 over about a 500-game sample size. The spot that I looked at, though, comes down to ranked road favorites versus unranked teams do tend to go to the over. Last year, USC was a huge over prediction every game, but Lincoln Riley found a way to get those boys dialed in on defense. This year, I'm not so sure about that, but the ranked road favorites versus unranked are an over spot that have hit 7 of its last 10. It's 115 to 80 overall in favor of the over. And collectively, USC's 3-2 to the over at home. Really, they're kind of coin flips. It's one of those, it could go over, it could go under, but I'm taking this one down even further from the number, expecting it to go over. And I teased it. I thought it was a good way to approach this game, but I do want some action on it because it's a big television spot. So I wanted to get involved in this one.
Yeah, I mean, they played really well at home this season, too. I mean, you have a plus 18-point differential at home. Their one loss, I think, at home this season was against Penn State, and that was a nail-biter, 33-20. And then the one thing I mean, USC is going to have to stop the run. That's all Notre Dame is going to try to do to them is They're going to run that two-pronged attack with Love and Price. And then get Leonard out there too, running the ball. But this team is, and I said it last week. I said Notre Dame. This is the best team I've seen them on the field in a long time, and maybe 15 years at this point. Mm-hmm. They're winning by margin. They're not letting their foot off the gas. They had that weird sleepwalk against NIU where they had control of the game, and then Leonard just made a stupid bonehead mistake and threw a pick. And then, but this is a game that all the pressure's on them. There's no pressure on USC. They're not playing for much of anything except for pride. They only have 6 wins this season, and you're seeing this line as short as it is. If I was the better, which I am, the handicap in mind tells me that this is a USC spot. I'm obviously not going to be touching this game whatsoever. The over is a look because if you can run against USC, you can score points, and maybe USC with the passing attack that they're going to find their way to get to 20, maybe 24, and then you'll have Notre Dame score the rest if they can't stop the run. But I think the over is a look on this one as well. But nothing I'm going to be playing. I'm 3 hours, maybe 4 hours away from this game, and that's all I've been able to think about since I woke up. Just win the game, All right, next game on the board. As we got our other guest in the queue, I'll just wait for him to pop up, tell me he's ready. It looks like he is right now. Gonna get him in. Now we got the threesome back. The regs are back, baby. We got hitting the books with Bobano Bets. You've seen him all over X. You've seen him just making picks left and right. He's been on the show multiple times. It is Connor Mack Picks. How you doing, buddy? On this beautiful.
What up, gentlemen? Guns, Air Force hat. I like it. Air Force playing some good football after being horrible. Michael, how's it going?
What's going on, guy? I had to.
What up, guy?
Guy.
Hey, but before we go to the next game of the board, I wanted to know if you had any thoughts on this one, C-Mac, Notre Dame versus USC, and crush my soul.
Yeah, hey. Well, the Notre Dame that's been playing the last, I don't know, 8 weeks. This seems just like a layup, right? I don't know here. I haven't made a bet in this game. I want to take SC, but I don't know if they have it here. But all I know is Notre Dame's played nobody, really. Yeah. And they played nobody on the road. So here we go. But I don't know if this team.
They played A&M on the road.
Right away. It's been a long time. They haven't done anything since. Agreed. They did early in the year. So how do you go from that when you're just playing kind of some cupcakes lately? But they've been dominating. So that makes me think they could go in there and win by 17 or so, or 3 touchdowns. Or this is just tight as in in years past. This is a big time rivalry that's coming along. It's gone on for a very long time. You know that, Guns. So this won't be easy. I still think the SC defense isn't good. I like the change to Mayav quarterback. I mean, I think he took him down, beat him. I had UCLA in that game. I thought UCLA kind of outplayed him the first 3 quarters and lost it. And Garbers didn't throw a pick in that game. And I was like, this is beautiful. And they still lose in the end. So my lean the whole way was SC here, at least over a touchdown.
You're talking about Jaden Mayvea from USC, right? The transfer.
Yeah, from UNLV.
UNLV. What I mean.
Mayava. Yeah.
A little bit.
That's how they did his
you got to remember that quarterback took
Vegas.
them to the Mountain West Championship last year. So, I mean.
Well, I thought he was going to be the guy right away.
I did too.
They kept him waited for, and they had Moss in there, but I knew he'd be in there sooner or later.
But yeah, I'm going to throw up 3 times. I'm going to piss blood, and it's going to be one of those grinds for me today. Just win, please. Get to the playoffs so I can have a few weeks off before I'm stressing again. All right, Miami versus Syracuse today. With this Miami team, and I've said it on a couple of shows, I'm not high on them this year. I think they are fool's gold. They are one-dimensional. Their offense is electric with Cam Ward and all the weapons that he has there. But he's going on the road once again in another situation where they're a double-digit favorite, I believe, going into this game. We've seen that before with Georgia Tech, and they lost outright. That dome is going to be thumping and loud as hell for Syracuse here with hopefully Kyle McCord. I think the one thing he can't do is he can't make mistakes, and he can't throw picks in this game or it's over. But you can score points in this Miami team if you've got the gusto. But I'll start with you, C-Mac. What do you think? Thoughts on Miami versus Syracuse?
Yeah, there's one thing they're going to have success because, this Miami defense can't stop anything. You just mentioned, like, if McCord does make mistakes, maybe that has Miami cover this game. But I think Syracuse wins this outright. This Miami team is so fraudulent for even the covers because I've been on a couple bad ones. Like, I mean, that last 2 weeks, maybe it was 2 weeks ago with Wake, they're up 20-14, and then they scored 22 points, so Wake doesn't. And then Duke was on them, I think, up 10 in the third quarter, and they came all the way back and covered that by a point. But these defense numbers, these are like a fraud. What you see, some of the numbers too, that they're a lot better. That's who they play, to their competition. The one thing is Miami's be able to score here on Syracuse. Can we get over this total? I think it'll be close. This thing's at 68 almost. Now 67.5. Syracuse is live here. I think you could look at Syracuse's team total. Miami's team total has basically been a slam dunk if you've kind of been betting that all year, if you didn't want to mess with their number. But I think this is tough. And as good as Ward is, I've seen him have a few really bad games, whether it's Washington State. He makes some crazy decisions sometimes. As much as we talked about McCord, he can't. Because if that happens, Syracuse right in it and wins it, and the place will be rolling, rocking the dome. Syracuse, get Miami out of there too, out of this playoff.
I agree with you on this one. This could be something I'm going to be sprinkling here before the 3:30 kick on the East Coast. But Mike, I know you have thoughts on this game. You've kind of alluded to it a little bit. What are your thoughts, Miami versus the Cuse? Up in your range.
I'll tell you what, Cuse either wins this game outright or gets busted up. There's no need to worry about the 11 points. This is a Syracuse spot where they like to go out there. They year in and year out, they find themselves in this position. It's end of the season. There's a team coming in, a runaway freight train comes into town, and they end up finding a way to put something out. They ajar the track just a little bit to derail that train. Look at Clemson a couple years ago, right? That was a huge game. I was at that game. Everybody was talking about it. It was nonstop. Like, it was the hottest ticket in town. And here we go again with that situation. Mario Cristobal can fuck up a wet dream like nobody else. And we're in the dome. You guys talked about it. You got 2 passing teams that like to go out there and air raid. The difference is, you look at the Syracuse style and the transition here. A lot of people were down on Kyle McCord. He left Ohio State, and the coaching from Georgia. This is wrong move. Syracuse was fucked under Dino Babers and not Babers. Now they got a situation where they bring in this Georgia team and that defensive strategy. look how it's hurt Georgia defensively, just from some of the defensive football IQ that they've kind of lackluster. When they get into shootouts, they struggle. On the flip side of things here, you bring McCord in. He's got almost 4,000 passing yards out there. He just set his career high, 470 against a UConn team that was probably suspect to begin with. 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and Miami can get scored on. Against the conference, they've been struggling. You guys alluded to this as well. 28 points they've given up in 5 of 7 conference games. That's a bad spot, I think, for Miami. Syracuse is going to be up for the challenge. They're going to be ready to prove something out there. And, hey, what a hell of a season for a team that was really drubbed and struggling. Now they're coming into this thing, and they're sitting there at, 8-3, I think is their record on the season.
Yep.
This is a big chip to put on the championship belt for Syracuse here if they can knock this Miami team off. And it'll create a ton of chaos in the ACC. So why not? Let's see some chaos. Let's see everything kind of move up a little bit. Let's see Syracuse find a way to thump these guys.
Oh, that'd be a dream to get Miami out of the playoff, but I agree. I think that this is a prime spot here for Syracuse. There was 2 games that I circled a couple weeks ago, and I said, you looked at Miami's schedule after they were winning a bunch of close games left and right. I go, here's where their losses could be. I said Georgia Tech and Syracuse. Those were the 2. I was like, if it ain't Georgia Tech, it's going to be me doubling down on Syracuse. And I still think that this is a perfect spot to take Syracuse. You forget that Kyle McCord has more passing yards than Cam Ward does.
Right.
He's done a lot better. Granted, he has more interceptions and less touchdowns than Cam Ward, but I mean, these 2 quarterbacks may have themselves one of them lightning type of games where you could go back to like the Pat Mahomes versus Baker Mayfield back in the day. Could we have this high scoring event? I guess we'll see, but I think it's you got to take Syracuse or pass on this one. Do not jump into the Miami Hurricane train. We've seen them on the road. We've seen what they can do. They underperform in these types of situations. And granted, I was like, oh, but Georgia Tech did beat them. But Georgia Tech, to me, I've seen them against Georgia. That team, when they have Haynes King at quarterback, that team is in every single game, even though they had some big losses this year. Syracuse, I think 3-way on this one today.
Bingo. Yeah, last week too was a perfect spot. And I didn't take it, and I knew it because I was just a little over with UConn. They covered. They were 10.5-point favorites, Syracuse was. I mean, they just glad they got the win, but I thought that was dangerous. UConn covers that. Now they're double-digit dogs at home. This is the spot. This is the spots you go look at. You make your money when you bet college football, period.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And yes, after this show that I'm going to invest more of my money into another game that I haven't been on today. But yeah, Syracuse is definitely a spot that maybe take on this one. I think we should talk about this one briefly just because it is a key rivalry. Auburn versus Alabama. Auburn coming off a humongous win with A&M with the dropsies on the 2-point conversion to end that game and end their playoff hopes in one felt swoop. That guy did not want to talk to anybody after that game, I bet, seeing him drop that pass, but I digress. Auburn got the win. Now they have to go on the road into Tuscaloosa to go play an Alabama team. If this was in Auburn, I'd probably consider taking the Auburn side. I'm not on anything officially on this one, but I'll pass it to you, Mike. What are your thoughts, Auburn, Bama?
Gosh, man. I mean, this is the most anticlimactic Iron Bowl I think I can recall.
Oh, gross.
And it's just disappointing. Obviously that lots of great comebacks in these games, though, right? They are very competitive, and wouldn't surprise me to see Auburn come in there and smack them. Problem is, everyone's talking Bama. Everyone's saying, can a 3-loss team get themselves into the playoffs? And if Bama, loses this game, then they're certainly not going to be in that situation. But I think the points would. I don't have a much of a definitive. I just want to see a good game in this one. Frankly, I don't really care who wins either side of it. I take the points with Auburn. I think they're kind of getting ducked a little bit. They're getting dogged for being in this situation here. I think it's because of the name brand that is Bama and this Iron Bowl. But man, we've seen Auburn fight in these games time and year in and year out. They're up, they lose. They find a way. They're down, they come back and return field goals for touchdowns. It's a big rivalry. The kids will be fired up for it. And that's just too many points. It's just bottom line. It's just too many points.
Yeah, I agree. You got to remember this team just came off this Bama team came off a 24-3 loss on the road to Oklahoma last week. Were they looking ahead to Auburn? I don't think so. Maybe this is a falling knife here with Bama. Who knows? Nothing I'm going to play officially, but I'll pass it to you, C-Mac. Any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, this is one where, this is an outright win probably for Auburn, or Bama blows them out. That's basically been the outcomes of these Iron Bowls lately. And Alabama's off the shitty performance. And, hey, Nick Saban ain't there anymore, because if it was an alpha loss with him, Bama would smash right here. Yeah. But that's not the case. So this Bama team, they're good. They're not great. I like the under a little bit. Auburn's played that crazy game last week. The last couple weeks gone over, but both these teams' numbers are decent at over 52.5. I thought that was too high. I think this is more of a defensive game. And one thing too, it's take the point, but Peyton Thorne, I can't take. Like, you take him against the bad teams, like just take. I can't take him. He looked great. The first half, he was fun. I've never seen him play, and I got to get kudos when I'm hats off to you, Peyton Thorne. But in crunch time,
he must have heard us last week talking shit about him, and then
yeah,
he goes, "I'll show you guys."
He did, but I take the points here, and I just said I'm not going to get involved here. I've been looking at the under all week though, at 52.5.
Yeah, you want a trend on this one? The trend has been the home team is 11-1 ATS in this spot, and I don't know if you want to just take. I mean, I know Bama struggles in when they have to play at Auburn. It's been historic year after year, regardless of how good those teams have been. But taking Auburn in this spot off a big win, and then you're playing a Bama team that just got punched in the mouth. You would think they're going to be motivated here to go.
Here's the counterpoint to that, though, boys. There's a number for everything out there. When you got a team that's sitting at home as a favorite off of a single-digit game, so they scored single digits, right? 24-3 Oklahoma, 322 and 222 if you played those teams out there. 100 more wins in favor of taking the team with getting the points versus laying it with the home favorite in that bounce back spot. It's a 59% winning edge. But it still is an edge, and it shows that, again, this is that fit. You guys nailed it early. If it was the Nick Saban before, yeah, they're going to come back and beat the snot out of Auburn, but it wouldn't surprise me to see this be a dog alert. Super dog.
Dog alert. Dog alert.
All right, we're going to move down the board. We got to keep this thing moving along, and please like and subscribe to the GunzPicks channel as you're watching this right now, or you're watching it later. And get to the comment section. Tell us what plays you're on, and tell us what lifestyle you're living here on this beautiful Saturday. Drinking, smoking. Are you just having turkey leftovers from Thanksgiving, or are you actually going to go smoke some? I don't know, smoke a bird or smoke something out there on this beautiful Saturday. Let's go into
You just ran out of something to smoke.
I ran out of steam on that one, and my brain just glitched thinking about all these games here today. So let's go skipping across the board. Let's go into a big game here with playoff implications on the line. Texas versus Texas A&M. Of course, Texas A&M with the drop season overtime versus Auburn on the 2-point conversion. And then you have a Texas team that kind of just waltzing along. Not really playing anybody all year. When they had to step up in class, they faltered. Is this a Sarkisian spot here, or is A&M at home going to upset Texas? I'll start with you, Mike. Thoughts, Texas and Texas A&M.
I don't like a situation when you got a program that's got two quarterbacks, and I know that they're not leaning on Manning as much in this case, but if some shit goes right here with Texas, do they pull the trigger and Manning goes back in there? That you don't want to have in a big game like this. Ewers being the guy looking over his shoulder to see when is Arch Manning getting the call to go in here. Wouldn't surprise me that they even have a couple of gimmicky plays for this kid to come out there and maybe it's to run the ball, right? Because he's shown that he's got some ability to be quick out there. But look, Texas A&M's defense, man, their defensive line is solid out there. They're top 10 across the board and havoc points on defense, top 25 pass rush, top 5 secondary out there. That's the part that I think is the chess match and the mismatch. That strength of defense, and you talk about how Texas hasn't really played anybody to that degree. They're going to go on a big spot here. I think A&M's, again, another live dog here. Why not at least get the points in your back pocket? I don't like the chemistry that's made up with it. Now, they're winning, so who am I to argue with that kind of success out there? But look, it's a run-heavy team that is Texas, and I think if they start to get into a groove where they miss a couple of passes, Manning comes in there and they fucked up all of their chemistry, and Texas A&M wins this game outright. But I'll take the points in my back pocket. Especially you look at Ewers. I just got the Manning's going to get the hook on this guy's situation. His second half of the season has been kind of dog shit. He hasn't passed effectively. He's been missing a lot of open receivers, and this is a bad match. Internal skirmish.
Yeah, I agree with you on this one. Texas A&M the points, and we talked about it last week that Mike Elko got caught in a press conference, and he says we're on to Texas when you had the Auburn game in front of him and saw what happened there. So maybe he was on to Texas, and now you see him in the spot in this position. Big game for them. You got him at home, and your defense is humming along. I lean towards the A&M side, but I'll pass it to you, C-Mac. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think A&M is where you want to be in this game. One thing I've looked at Texas, this isn't over a touchdown, though. When we get to numbers, that's a little bit. But I guess that's telling that this is closer because I wanted more than a touchdown. Because Texas has gone on the road and not been impressive lately. But like Arkansas, they won by 10. They've got by. One thing, too, with Texas, while they could sneak out of here with a win at least, is I think their defense is pretty good. I mean, maybe it's not the best in the country, but it is top 5, I think. And this Texas A&M offense, it's better with Reed, but it's been so up and down. The defense needs to come to play. 12th man, the whole thing. The crowd needs to be in this from jump. Yeah, A&M, I think this is a tight one.
Yep, couldn't agree more. I think we all agree. A&M.
And this is the week. We saw it last week, and already this is like upsets.
Yeah,
chaos. Right? I think we got a little bit of a preview of what this chaos could potentially be with Georgia just having to how they came back in that game and how Georgia State just I don't know what happened to them. They got scared. They're like, holy shit, we're up way too much with like 5 minutes left, and then they just completely
they do that. They're like, oh my god, we're up. Let's just hand off the ball and do
He had the first.
This drives me nuts.
He dropped the ball. He had the first down and fumbled. I was like, they're done. They're done. They're cooked. Crazy. I was gonna take them. I was like, I wish I took them on the money line. I was like, oh, glad I didn't. So there you go.
I didn't have a ton on it, but yeah, I had 50.
Yeah, I took the 17 and a half and ran away. All right.
Me too.
One more game on the board before we close them out here. Like I said, like and subscribe to the GunzPicks channel. Like and subscribe to this video itself. And get into the comment section, and also check out these guys. You have the Sports Money channel with Mikey M. Pimp Slap, and what he's doing over there is just nonstop streaming with many people on there. Go check that out, Sports Money, and check out Hitting the Books. Coming to the end of the season, I'm sure they're going to have some bold previews for you with him, with C-Mac and Bobano Bets. Go check that out on YouTube as well. All right, one more game before we close them out. Let's go Kansas State versus Iowa State. I know that Mike gave his thoughts on this one earlier when he was talking about his parlay. I know this. I'll start with you, Mike, because you have the best notes on this one. Kansas State versus Iowa State. Big game on the line for Iowa State to make the Big 12 championship. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is like I said, the leg of the parlay with Iowa State, and this is that trend. We talked about it at the onset of the show here when I gave out that cup of coffee parlay. Big battle. Teams playing for all the gold right now, and this is exactly what this scenario comes down to here. You've got teams in Week 14 that are playing for a opportunity to get seeded in the playoffs, have been nothing but dominant. And let me pull this note back up for that one. But that's exactly the situation that we're in with these two teams right now. And look, you got this Iowa State team coming into this thing. You got the pros versus Joes. 70% of the cash, or 70% of the bets are coming in on the Kansas State side of things, but the bigger bettors are taking the Iowa State game, and this moved it from a pick'em, even to some twos in some spots that were out there. So the books are concerned enough with what they're seeing out of this Iowa State team at 9-2. They are playing for the bang. And why can't I find this spot now that I'm talking about it? But we had some great numbers behind it, and I'm sure they'll still be there when I look back at it. I just can't seem to find it in my notes, so we'll get there. But This Iowa State or nothing. I mean, you can't, are you going to see an upstate with K-State? I don't think so. I think this is too much to play for. They're in the perfect situation to play at home. They've revitalized this program, and I'm going to take some Iowa State behind it. Let me see if I can find that number.
Yeah, people are going to write off Campbell after last season of how they performed. And I was like, I think he's still a great coach. I think he's the only coach for that team. And he proved it this year that this team is fully capable. You just got to give this guy time. They're going to have one-off years, but this is a great coach, great team, great program. I'll pass it to you, C-Mac. You have any thoughts on this game? Kansas State versus Iowa State.
Yeah, I haven't got involved with this game, but I disagree here at all. This line's been at 3. This is coming down 2-1. So I think they're respecting here the K-State that this is going to be a football game. Yeah. And one thing I've been not impressed with Iowa State all of a sudden, especially the second half of the year, is they can't stop the fucking run. This team has just gotten gashed. And that's one thing, and that's why I think this game is close. K-State can run it and run it down their throat. Problem is with K-State, while I'm not all over them, is Avery Johnson. The turnovers. He's not a great passing quarterback. Like, I want a guy that with my money on the line that could get the job done. And K-State, sure, she's been decent on the road, a much more better team at home. But I'd look out. They got to win it. Doesn't mean they win it here at home.
This comes down to one of those situations where it's like, where are you getting your number? And you want to get the first number on the street. So when it opens up in the look-ahead spots as a pick-em and it moves to 2, you're not getting the false flag with that. If you look at it this week, yeah, you're seeing a false flag to some degree, but the early look-ahead spots were there, and I found that number. I meant to say this with you guys, but let me see. Where did it go? There it is. 43-8. That's what it was, with a 10-game winning streak for that spot for Iowa State, teams that are in the playoff situation. But you're right. Yeah, it could be a situation where K-State comes out there, plays some defense, and shuts them down. Man, it's going to be a fun game, though. That's going to be a really kind of good game that kind of flies a little under the radar with some of the marquee names on the board.
Yeah, you said it. Actually, I see both arguments really. It's like, so you look at the road type of situation for Kansas State. Of course, they beat Tulane, but they got their ass kicked by BYU. A lot of outliers in that game. A lot of turnover issues. Right near the second half. And then they lost to Houston. Houston was another one that they had some turnover problems in, but they gashed up West Virginia. They gashed up Colorado. So they have the capabilities of winning on the road. In the run game for them, that's what they want to do. And you said it, C-Mac. This team has given up some massive yards in the run game. 354 rushing yards to UCF, 237 to Kansas, 287 to Cincinnati.
Crazy.
It's just unbelievable with these. 204 to Iowa. Teams average 5.1 yards per carry when they face them. They cannot stop the run. And if Kansas State establishes the run and they don't turn over the ball and make bonehead mistakes, yeah, you could see them dominating this game left and right from time of possession to scoring and everything. I don't know. I can see both sides on this one. This is one of those ones I don't have a play on. The numbers that I got are dead even with one another. So it's one of those ones that I was like, I think the books just got the line right, and we'll see what
I think it's a good watch. It should be a good game.
It's going to be a good one. But yeah, you could see Iowa State, like you said, very high motivated type of situation. So that kind of weighs out statistical analytics altogether. It's not like they're going to fall, or they could just be like very well coached by Campbell and say they're just going to be ready to go. Where Kansas State, are they going to try to play up to this one? I don't know. We'll see. But it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a very, very good game here at 7:30. Good night game after I watched Notre Dame lose today and crush my dreams. But that's going to do it here for the Saturday mornings with Guns Picks as we're getting close to kickoff. But I want to make sure I give the platform to the boys and tell them where you can find them. And also, why don't you throw out some plays if you got them? Start with you, Mike.
Yeah. Let's go, man. Find me at Sports Money on YouTube. I got myself a guest that comes in on Thursday by the name of Miggity Mac. And every Monday to Friday, 6 p.m., pre-gaming, breaking down last-minute looks, trends, analysis, angles, cash flow splits, injury updates, everything that's going on out there, the direction that goddamn wind's blowing to help us figure out how to make winning bets. Monday to Friday, 6 p.m., Morning Steam with my guy Ramon Scott, 9 a.m. every single day, 9 a.m. at Sports Money. Catch Ramon Scott for about 2 hours breaking down the card as well, doing what he does out there. And I'll give you guys a couple of plays that I like here today. I did jump in on that UTSA spot at 6.5 now. I got it at 7, but 6.5, I'd still probably get a run with that thing. Bad spot for Army. Definitely got to play the Army-Navy game next week. Only team that has kind of a bad scheduling spot this week is Army with that look-ahead potential out there, depending on what happens with some of the conference championship games. But I take those points. Let's see. Other spots that I do like to get involved with here today. Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan. I gave that in the parlay. I love that under spot, under 56. It's going to be windy. It's going to be chilly. It's going to be all the things that you want to see with a team that likes to run the ball and keep it on the ground. And then let's see. How about the under? So Guns and I don't see eye to eye in Middle 10 and FIU, and that's fine. But I'll go with the under. Give me the under 51 in that game. Lower scoring spot. I think that's a good, makes sense. Oh, and then the last one I gave out over there across the street. South Florida. I took South Florida basically at a pick'em, and the over. I teased it with the over. So South Florida and the over 47.5 will close out some action for you guys in the early card. Appreciate you, Guns. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're always welcome on this show. We got the Regs. These guys have been absolutely killing it. Just giving the plays, giving their insight. Appreciate them joining. And of course, C-Mac. You can see him on Hitting the Books. You can see him all over social media platforms at Connor Matt Picks. I'll give the floor to you, my man. What are your tell them where they can find you and throw out some plays if you got them.
Yeah, Connor Mac Picks. Check it out. Go to Hitting the Books as well. Me and Babano. Hit the like. Go subscribe if you haven't. That's all we're asking for, at least right now. And I love the UTSA. Great, Mike. I'm already on that as well. Let's give out another one here.
Let's go.
Fresno State. This is at 9.5, but 7.5 is still fine. It's over the touchdown. UCLA demoralized after the big rivalry loss last week. I think they want to win this game, but I don't know how hyped they're going to be. They can't go bowling. This UCLA team. I don't know. Maybe if they win this game and they have a few 5 and 7 teams get in, but I don't know if they're going to do that. One thing, Fresno can't run it. UCLA stops the run. 8th over only 99, so they're not going to run it that much. Mikey Keene could throw it. They average 250 yards, 43rd in the country. UCLA has been leaky against the pass, 111th. Fresno State is in this football game. Take the 7.5 here.
Good insight there, C-Mac. And you can go check those guys out on the separate channels. Make sure you like and subscribe to the GunzPicks channel. Saturday mornings with GunzPicks. The Extra Point Show is going to be coming out tomorrow at 10 a.m. Go check that out. It's a pre-record. It's me, Shark, and the Odds Fella. Odds Fella had to go to Disney World, so we had to do the show early this week. So we're not going to be doing it live, but please go check that out. We gave out some absolute bangers there for the NFL Sunday. And, yeah, this show will be back next week. Talk a little conference championship ball. So go check that out on the GunzPicks channel. That's going to do it here for Saturday mornings with GunzPicks. Let's cash some tickets. Let's dominate the bowl. And as always, let's keep dancing. Bye-bye.
Money